friends. What is it about Harley-Davidson baggers that makes these things so popular and appealing? I mean, they are the largest, heaviest, and albeit the most expensive Harley-Davidson motorcycles you can buy. Now, while the cost of a Harley-Davidson touring bike may be a little off-putting for a lot of people and probably even a deal breaker, it just may be the last Harley-Davidson you will ever have to buy. Let's just start with the obvious. Harley-Davidson touring motorcycles, or baggers, these things are just plain comfortable. There's really not a whole lot you have to do to them to get yourself comfortable on one. Sure, there's a lot we could do with a Softail, Sportster, or a Dyna, but how much money are we going to put into one of those bikes to try to get there, even close to what the baggers already come with standard? And let's be honest, even though we could do a whole lot to other Harley-Davidson models, we're really never going to hit the mark that we could get with that Harley-Davidson touring frame. Now, as scary as the weight of a bagger sounds on paper, once you get these things out on the road, that weight really comes into play. And the way Harley-Davidson carries that weight, it really makes it more of a benefit than a con when it comes to these bikes. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Alright, as I mentioned, it's no secret that Harley-Davidson baggers come with a serious weight penalty. I mean, a fully dressed bagger can weigh upwards of almost 1,000 pounds. That's with all the fluids you need to run down the road, and that's before you add the weight of you, your passenger, and any other gear that you're carrying on the bike. But Harley-Davidson has designed these bikes to carry the bulk of that mass down low in the frame. And with having that weight carried down low, that makes these bikes infinitely easier to pick up off the side stand, also just maneuvering around in the parking lot or your own garage. And also, that weight really helps keep the motorcycle planted when you're running down the road, whether it be a back road, the city streets, or even a highway. And something I don't like to talk about, if you did happen to drop the motorcycle, with that weight being carried down low, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to get that bike picked back up right. Now, with as heavy as these bikes sound, you might think these motorcycles aren't very maneuverable. Well, you'd be sorely mistaken. If you've ever been out on the internet or even went and watched some of these guys from the police departments ride these motorcycles on these highly technical tight courses, amazing the way they can throw these bikes around and dive into corners, drag the floorboards, pick them right back up. It's all about throttle control. And if you master that with a bagger, you will find that these bikes are a lot more maneuverable than they look sitting there on the floor. Now guys, baggers are absolutely the best motorcycles for two-up riding. These bikes were completely designed around that, and not only that, they just plain eat it up running down the road with two people on them. Now we can change the seats, we can change the backrest, we can try all different combinations when it comes to a Softail, Dyna, or Sportster, but the one thing that we cannot gain from those bikes, well, realistically, is more seating room, especially when you have yourself and a passenger on the bike plus the gear. So yes, while we can't add luggage to any other Harley-Davidson model, whether it be tour packs, saddlebags, touring bags, whatever you want to put on there, they really do kind of detract from the amount of available space for you and your passenger on the bikes. But simply with touring bikes, we don't have this problem. They're already designed around maintaining that usable space for you and the passenger, even when they're fully dressed out and loaded down with gear. Now, one of the other big advantages that the baggers actually carry over the other Harley-Davidson model is their fuel tanks. All these bikes have 5+ gallon fuel tanks, which are going to allow you to run down the highway for well over 200 miles. Because honestly, nobody really likes to stop for gas. And on a touring bike, you can actually eat those kind of miles up and not feel like you're ready to jump off of this thing. Some of the other Harley models, you put 100+ miles on them with their fuel tanks, you're ready to get off those things and stretch your legs. Now, the other benefit to the baggers is that they give you a lot of options depending on what your wants and needs are. You can get one fully dressed out with the latest technology and infotainment systems, or you can get these bikes stripped back just to about the bare bones and nothing. Now, just about every Harley-Davidson bagger with a fairing on it is going to come with the stereo. Now, depending on the age of the bike you're looking at, you may just get a basic stereo in there, or you may get one that's got the full infotainment screen that you can pair your phone to. You can take phone calls. You can do all kinds of crazy things on there that you probably necessarily don't need to be doing on a motorcycle running down the road. But the benefit to the bagger is you can get something like the Electra Glide Standard. It is a faired motorcycle, but it doesn't have a stereo in it. The fairing is just basically a blank slate. You can put your own stereo in it if you want, or you can just leave it as is and enjoy the motorcycle. If the fairings aren't your thing, there's always the Road King. The Road King comes with just a basic windshield. This is basically the touring frame, but without the big fairing, without all the frills on it. You still get the good, comfortable quality ride, but you can still block the wind with that windshield. And not to mention, now we have the Road King Special, which is really a stripped down, blacked out version of the touring frame bagger. You can add your own windshield to it if you want. You can put a fairing on it. You can really do whatever you want with this motorcycle. But the trick is, they sell cheaper than the faired bikes with the stereos, and that's why I say the original Road King is one of the best values out there. Those tend to go for way less than any other Harley-Davidson touring model. It really is worth your while to look into a touring bike and compare that to a Sportster, a Dyna, or a Softail, because the touring bike already comes equipped with just about everything you could ever need or want. And in some cases, depending on what you pay for the bikes, you may actually spend more dressing out a non-touring Harley-Davidson model trying to get it up to the specs of a bagger. Now guys, there are touring baggers out there available to meet just about anyone's budget. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to go out and spend $30,000 to get a nice Harley-Davidson bagger. There are plenty of twin cam and Evo powered baggers out there, and for the price you're going to pay for one of those, that leaves you a lot of room to put a performance cam in it or do a little engine work to it. It really leaves your budget wide open to do whatever you want to that motorcycle. Now, historically with Harley-Davidson and the baggers, they usually got the bigger engine if one was available in the time period when that bike was new. So when the 96 was out, some of the bikes got a 103. Or if we go back to the old Screaming Eagle / CVO baggers, they had a 103 back in the day when all the other bikes got 88s. So buying one of those, you could already get a bigger motor right there. Just put a cam in it. You don't really have to worry about a big bore kit. So yes, you could say arguably the bagger did need the bigger engine, but hey, it's still a benefit. So in my experience, I have really hardly ever seen anybody that went out and bought a touring bagger and then went back to something smaller once they've experienced the comfort and maneuverability that the touring baggers offer. This is why I say a touring bagger might just be the last Harley-Davidson motorcycle you ever buy, unless you upgrade to a newer model or something different within the bagger family. Now I get it, baggers aren't for everybody, and there's a lot of reasons too why you would go out and take a Softail, Dyna, or Sportster and go ahead and deck it out somewhat like the touring bagger. But either way you go, there's basically an infinite number of accessories available for all of these motorcycles out there. But as I mentioned, just make sure you do a little comparison shopping on what it would cost you to get a Dyna, Softail, or Sportster, put bags on it, put a tour pack on it, windshield, and deck it out trying to make it something like what the touring bikes already come standard with. You might be better off just going ahead and popping for the touring bike, and not to mention you get the benefits with the touring bike that you're not going to get with any other Harley-Davidson model, especially when it comes to that weight and comfort of running down the road. But guys, let me know in the comments, let me know what your preference is. Would you rather go ahead and just buy a touring bagger, or would you rather get a different Harley-Davidson model, one from another Harley-Davidson family, and deck that thing out to somewhat like the touring bike? I'm curious to what your opinions on that are. But anyhow guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give that video a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But until next week guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars, and I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.